afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. First, I would like to welcome all our speakers here. The moderator will be Mr. Ghazi Atallah, who will take care. Just I want to welcome each of you, and I welcome also and thanks all our participant attendees for this virtual panel about the digital transformation. That's all from my side today. I will give you, Ghazi, the word to start. Ghazi, please go ahead.
Thank you, Tony. Thank you for the opportunity, and welcome everyone. We're getting lots of people joining very quickly. So I'm sure over the next few minutes, we're gonna have more and more. I'd like to start with just an overview of the panel, the topic of the panel, and also introduction of the panelists, and then give the panelists the opportunity to, for a few minutes to talk about the topic from their point of view. And then from there on move to Q&A, myself and the panelists. And then finally, the last section of this panel is opening up to Q&A from the audience. So let me start by just a quick introduction of what we're talking about today. We are here to discuss digital transformation, which is, of course, a buzzword and a hot topic across all of our industries. But we're going to take a little bit of an interesting angle to say, how does digital transformation drive innovation in various areas of the industry? So we're going to talk about innovation in service delivery, innovation in infrastructure, innovation in the way that we integrate and engage with people. We develop people and train people. We're going to talk about skills. We want to talk also about innovation in business models that digital transformation is enabling. So really, it's about innovation enabled through digital transformation, and innovation across the business, across infrastructure, across service delivery, across people, across our assets overall in terms of the industry. So without further ado, we have a very interesting panel and wonderful panelists, and thank you panelists for joining us. I'm gonna just introduce the panelists and then give them the opportunity to take us through their thinking at the top level of the panel outline, and then we're gonna do Q&A. So the panelists today are Alberto Delgado, who is Vice President IoT and Artificial Intelligence at Etisalat. The other panelists are Karim Ben-Kirani, who's the Chief Commercial Officer at DO. Then we have Gunther Ottendorfer, Chief Technology Infrastructure Officer at Ooredoo Qatar. And then we have Daniel Mausouf, who's the Head of Sales, Mobile Networks, Middle East and Africa at Nokia. So let me start with Alberto first. Alberto, if you can just kick us off with a few minutes introduction from your point of view about the panel topic and outline. Please go ahead.
Thank you, Ghazi. And also, first of all, thank you to Telecom Review for having me here. Well, I think that the topic is very broad, right? Because digital transformation, in some way, all of us, we are inside this digital transformation as citizens, as employees, with our different roles. But what is a reality is that this digital transformation is being accelerated during the COVID and after the COVID, and also because of the world is not the same, right? It's not going to be the same. So, and this acceleration, I think, has created a lot of new opportunities in different use cases and in different areas, but also some challenges, right? But what is a reality is that, for example, the cloud adoption is, there are some key components here in this digital transformation and this innovation. The cloud adoption is something that all the companies, all the governments are looking at, and I think that this is one of the key pillars of this digital transformation. The other one is, of course, the telecommunication networks, and above all with the 5G. We have seen during this pandemic how the telecom networks has been able to transport so huge amount of information with videos, with the students at homes, attending the classes, and so on, and the different businesses that has been able to work from anywhere, anytime, right? And maybe these are the two key words here. This transformation also is happening all across industries, because I see, for example, in smart cities, to enhance the life of the citizens with digital services, more e-government services that are being provided by the government managers, and the way that they are doing it in a more efficient way, thanks to the innovation and the technology. Just to put an example, like how they are more efficient when they are implementing waste management, or how they are more efficient in managing the spaces for the vehicles with smart parking. Also, another industries like the industrial environments, manufacturing, that they are able to know in real time what is happening with their products, connecting their products in real time with their product lines. Or what to say about the digital the healthcare sector, with how they are enhancing the experience of the patients in the clinics, or how they are using AI to have a diagnosis and to create new, or to develop new drugs. Education, again, where the students are in a different environment, attending classes from their homes or from anywhere, but also with new ways of delivering the classes through virtual reality or augmented reality. And the last one, that is another transformation, another sector that is in transformation, is the automotive sector, with all what is happening around the autonomous car, and we will see very soon. And there was an announcement yesterday from the UAE government about allowing the autonomous cars to be on the roads very soon. So I think all across, what I see is that there is a digital transformation. The companies at the government that will not go through this journey, they will not have happy citizens, or they will not be able to compete in this new environment.
Great, thank you, Alberto, for the introduction. We'll come back to some of the things you mentioned and pick up on those, especially on the B2B, top opportunities side. If I can move now to Karim. Karim, please, an introduction from your side.
Excellent. Thank you, Ghazi. Thank you, Telecom Review. I think digital transformation from a telco operator point of view, we see it as definitely a platform to gain the trust, and then to give the control in the hand of the customer. We see it as an opportunity to make sure that we can provide a seamless experience, and make sure that we can take the customer to the next level, and more connect with them. Now, the digital transformation or the digital tools are definitely going to help to create new revenue streams, and the new revenue streams will definitely comes with more investment, and also it will require a different skill set. So here again, digital transformation is empowered by human. So the big question in the telco industry we are asking is how competitive we are in order to attract the digital talent and digital skills. And by being in Dubai, being in the UAE, definitely we have a big chance to attract the digital talent. Now, up to our HR department to use a different platform, and also take us to more an agile way of working, and make sure that we can create an ecosystem for those talent to be to excel, and then and help us to take this wave. So I will be able to elaborate more, but I think definitely if we want to define the digital transformation in a basic word, is just we are going to be more transparent, more honest, because customer will see everything through the app or through the website or through any digital interaction we will get with them. So it's a massive opportunity for the telcos to gain trust and gain on their NPS.
Thank you, Karim. Thank you. Interesting. Again, we're going to come back to some of those topics around the experience and of course also talent. Next in the speakers is Gunther. Gunther, as you can please go ahead and introduce yourself and the topic.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Telecom Review, for having me. From my position as CTIO of Ooredoo Qatar, in Qatar, we are a pioneer in 5G. So we have created a very extensive 5G network covering more than 90% of the population here. And to use this network, we are, of course, looking for new digital services. In parallel, the state of Qatar has a big digital initiative with TASMO, especially for IoT services. And so the question becomes, a move to digital, a digital transformation is a journey. How do we get people on this journey? What we have done is to structure it into 4 phases. We have clearly defined for our company 4 phases that will help us to enable our customers for better digital services. And by that, we can bring faster and more innovation. Those phases are from the starting point to simplify and retire legacy systems, then to introduce digital enablers and automatization. And some of these phases are overlapping, of course. And then to go into innovation, and innovation first into innovating with new partners, smaller partners, where we can help them with APIs to have faster access to our services. And then in a final phase, to bring that innovation that we have created initially for the new partners also into our core platforms and our core systems and core services. These are the 4 phases. But to get that working, to get that journey running, you need communication. That's why we have defined very clearly for Ooredoo Qatar a 1-page digital strategy that makes it clear to the team what we are trying to achieve. And we have also, based on our API and microservices strategy, defined a Lego strategy of digital building blocks. And these building blocks will help us over time to achieve those targets. And I think that culture that you shape with these initiatives is what I think is really enabling a new culture of digital innovation.
Very interesting, very interesting. I'm sure we're going to pick up on quite a few of those in terms of the enablers that you put together, some of innovation examples and so on. So, but let me for now, I'm going to go to Danielle, our last panelist. If you please, Danielle, go ahead.
Thank you, Ghazi. First of all, thank you to Telecom Review, Ghazi yourself, and having me on the panel. It is a privilege, and also to be sitting virtually next to the key influencers here. So very nice to be here. So being relatively new to the UAE in the Middle East, I've been here a year. I'm really amazed at the level of intent, focus, and initiatives that are present in the region, both on the government side as well as the operator side. Moving during the pandemic, I've seen the scope of services growing significantly. Digitally focused projects, Vision 2030, government-led AI initiatives, blockchain, you name it, and it's here. Same goes for Qatar, Saudi, Kuwait, integrated strategies that Gunther just mentioned, 2030, 2035, respectively. So it's really a boiling pot of what's happening. It's a hot pot of everything happening here in the UAE. So very exciting. In the context of this panel and my role in Nokia, I believe digital transformation allows us to drive continuous improvement and learning for all of us. I think we're in that phase. And we need to take technology as an enabler. If we take cloud as an example, we see the benefits rack up because we've got more services delivery platforms here rather than anything else. We can go faster, better, quicker in offering more for less. However, from a telco standpoint, I see that the focus has to be, from Nokia standpoint, on cloud native architecture. And this is built on an open approach, and something that Gunther was mentioning stuck out, getting APIs to allow build service-based offerings, making sure that we will have these offerings in a particular form for customers to take easier access to. And that's obviously very important for the cloud native part, and we'll probably talk a little bit about it later. The second part, which is important, again, from a telco perspective, is the edge cloud. The ability to locate performance latency sensitive applications closer to the user and making sure that we're close to the subscribers. We have limitations on the mobility and the devices, and edge cloud is really becoming more important in this piece. And of course, we should not forget 5G, because that is what breeds within what we're doing in Nokia today. It's a key enabler. Many telcos are looking at vertical opportunities here, opening new revenue streams. In Nokia, we have Bell Labs, and there has been this study which talks about mature digital industries in such retail banking being immediate beneficiaries of COVID. But now we're changing this model towards the physical industries, where we're seeing manufacturing, healthcare, and there's a lot of opportunity that comes in from digital transformation in these industries. So those will accelerate the transformation, the opportunity, and obviously COVID has magnified the urgency of reinvention. So we as an industry, I guess, have a role to play in kind of imagining no boundaries in what those business models should be. I think digital playing a role here in GCC, according to a report with BCG, we are actually 30% ahead of global average on online services. So, listening to some of the operator strategies here, we've definitely done a good job in getting those initiatives out. And I think as a next stage, picking up on something that Karim mentioned, is about how do we make sure the users understand and trust. We bridge that gap of trust as the consumer services get more and more advanced. We need more and more data. So I think that's the next step for us. And lastly, I believe we're all learning, we're all moving along this journey. And in our industry, we need to put a strong focus on transformation, creating talent. And I think that's a big gap in all organizations. How do we create that mindset shift? You can get the hard skills, but it's also about leadership. How are you driving the right talent? So realizing that employees are as important as our customers is very important, because they need to drive that transformation with them. And if we focus on the compelling business outcomes and design the purpose around it, we will see a clear path to the transformation piece. And lastly, I think for me, digital transformation, in my own experience sitting here at Nokia, we all learn from mistakes, and digital transformation should really focus on outcomes. And we often make the mistake of focusing on process, which is something that we need to get away from. So I think it's quite a journey. And again, it's been, it's very good to be here, Lazi. Back to you.
Yeah, thank you. Again, very interesting. Let me start with a couple of questions to you, if you don't mind. We'll go back the reverse way around with the questions. If you touch upon a very important topic at the end, which is measuring the impact, the effect, the benefit of digital transformation. When we talk cloud, it's easy much easier to manage and to measure improvement. When we talk more broadly around digital transformation, what do you think are, especially in innovation and infrastructure and so on, what would be the most relevant measures or areas that you would think about to say, okay, now if I'm innovating in infrastructure, those are the things that I should look at in terms of impact or outcome that would enable me to say, yes, I've improved, I've moved forward. What would you say would those be?
I think thank you for the question. I think that's a very interesting, and it's very respective to the organization or the industry you're in. If you take a telco perspective, typically transformation has been very focused around operational efficiencies. So the KPIs have always been about how do you build out new capabilities. If I look at from a Nokia perspective, how do we make sure that our operations are right sized, consolidating footprint, shifting to telco software, all of those cloud-driven automations. Gunter talked a little bit about automation and APIs. Those are kind of the KPIs that we're looking at from an operational efficiency standpoint today. What I've seen in my personal view in the last couple of years, that beyond the operations aspect, I think there's a lot of factors around resilience that is being brought in now when you look at transformation, because with COVID, with other things such as even climate change and all of that, people are looking at opportunities in digital transformation. And I think resilience plays a very important role when we're looking at getting this through into new business models. Recently there was COP26 and, our CEO talked about how there is no green without digital. And I think it's a simple statement, but it's a powerful statement if you think about it, because the opportunity that this climate crisis brings us in terms of transformation and business models is huge as well. And lastly, I would say there is the typical KPIs now from an enterprise standpoint. It's faster time to market. We talk about always should be as telco and IT, it's always been about buying or building. I think that has changed, that we should be thinking about building or consuming. And that's the difference. It is not about buying anything anymore. It's how we consume this overall infrastructure. So those KPIs fall into operational efficiencies. I would say some of those factors are already bedded for us in telco here. Yeah.
Interesting. So I think for anybody looking to innovate and drive digital transformation, and an outcome-based approach is of course, in today's world is a must. And you're talking about time to market, operational efficiency, infrastructure efficiency, etc. So very interesting from your point of view. Gunter, if I can ask you, we are in the you talked about transformation and infrastructure as in the architectural layers of how to build infrastructure and how to keep it flexible and how to actually provide innovation at various levels of the infrastructure to the technology that exists today. You talked about digital enablers. What were some of those digital enablers that you put forth that allows you to kind of create that flexibility, agility?
So I think at the core of it is the exposure of services and data through APIs. So what we did is we looked at our systems and said which systems are either already capable and have APIs, or where can we build them so that with an API gateway we put in the middle, we can then enable easy flow of information and enable these building blocks of building new services. And that worked very well. So we have deployed more than 100 APIs covering the most important services. We are using them in areas, very diverse areas, like for our field service, for our own app, for the B2B portal. We use it for the e-shop. We use it for chatbot services, loyalty management. And that means we have to do this work only one time. We create the API, we create the microservices, and then we can reuse them. So this is the architectural principle that enables us then to develop also faster. In parallel, we have trained, and that is the cultural side. We have now more than 50 Scrum Masters in the company, and we can develop products and features in an agile style. And more we get used to putting our people in these Scrum teams and delivering services fast based on these building blocks. And I think that makes a big difference, and that is a big enabler for this journey.
Oh, very interesting. And you actually opened up those APIs to third parties, to companies across.
Yes, we do. We have opened it up. We have an API marketplace. And for example, where it's used is for recharging services, loyalty services. So there are several provider of loyalty services our customers can use that use the API. In the past, every one of these development would have been a singular development and costed us a lot of time and effort. Now we just say, this is our API, use it, and you can basically be connected within a day.
That's wonderful. It saves you a lot as well in terms of time and money in dealing with third parties by making it a standard approach to actually integrate within your environment and also enabling innovation at the same time. So very, very interesting. I'm sure we're going to get a question very soon. Oh, what about security around this kind of an architecture and agility and so on? So let's keep that for later, because that question is going to pop up, I'm pretty sure. If Karim, if you don't mind, we talked about using this to differentiate, to provide, enable better customer experience. But you also touched upon a very interesting point, which is internal talent, and talent to be able to to deliver on the transformation. It requires different types of talent. It requires some, if you want, remodeling of the current talent. It requires this capability to be there and to be efficient, so that you can have the talent necessary to support the digital transformation initiatives. What kind of things have you done internally? You mentioned this, and I'm really keen on understanding. I'm sure our audience would be interested to know about some of those initiatives internally that you did to develop talent, digital talent.
Yeah, thank you, Ghazi. Look, the talent, or the digital, what we name them, the digital gurus, if they come to an organization which operates in waterfall mode, they leave the next day. So the talent, they want to be more on the agile mode, and what they name it, do or die. So they cannot document 150 pages and take it through the factory and launch it in a year's time or 2 years' time. So this is the ecosystem where they want to operate, and there is a massive global competition, and definitely telcos has a lot to do, because we need to make sure that we can create the right ecosystem, and we are competing with all the digital master businesses here. So what we have done in Do, we moved to this agile delivery. So we created, we piloted at the beginning one squad going one sprint. Then we start building on the commercial roadmap and delivering initiative after initiative. And I think now we can say we reach a good speed and scale level where we can attract more and more talent to help us to deliver faster. So I think there is also on the HR level this learning culture. So we are used to hire people, and we of course get their skills and expertise to support, but the digital gurus, they want to keep learning. And digital gurus, they know what they build today will not be relevant tomorrow. So this culture of learning, it needs to be part of the HR tools, which is new, and this is something we did set up for retention of the digital gurus. So all the traditional tools, we realize that they are not working. So of course the retention plans should have completely different design, and in line with the aspiration of this talents. Now, just on the customer experience, I think as a telcos, we a few years ago we were completely even a negative net promoter score compared to other industries where they are plus 50% or 50 point plus when it comes to the Amazon of the world, and then also the airlines industry in general. So I think the digital transformation helped us to move now to 20 plus. So we are halfway. We believe that we are in the right track. I agree with Gunter. It's a journey, and we need to make sure that we learn as we go, with definitely a goal to go beyond the 50% kind of NPS. So I think the digital journey is also coming with the concept of MVP, the minimum viable product. What does it mean? It means that I will design the phase one, which is just a minimum. It can be a Lego style, which means I will just push one feature to the market, but I don't have an idea about what is phase two, what is phase three. We are used to ask, give me a full plan, what you will launch in drop 1, and in drop 2, and drop 3. But here we are coming to a completely different culture, which is I'm launching drop 1 and I have no idea about drop 2. But it's the market who's going to tell me what is drop 2. Don't spend your time on designing your drop 2. Launch it, get the market feedback, design your drop 2 based on that. So I think this is all this new way of working is definitely part of this digital transformation journey.
Interesting indeed. Thank you, Karim. I think, you know, the two things come together very, very clearly in terms of launching differentiated experience with certain types of you know, MVP products, etc. Of course, as long as these products are, they have a good look and feel, but the functionality can grow with time, and you need a team internally that has the right mindset and the right culture to be able to accompany this journey that is a very agile journey and a very pressure cooker type journey in terms of you know, what do you need to release and when. You know, today we used to experience drops, as you call them, or software releases once every 6 months. Now we get weekly updates for any of the tools we use, and sometimes daily software updates on our phones and our laptops. So it's a very different journey in terms of agility and culture and the type of people that would be able to release such functionality and applications into the market. Very interesting. Alberto, you talked about B2B opportunities. You talked about quite a few of the B2B segments and so on. In your view, in the region, maybe focused on the UAE, but also taking a regional perspective, what are the top B2B segments that you can address through digital transformation services, if I can call them that way? And for those segments, what would be your primary capability that you bring to those segments, if you don't mind?
Well, that is a good question. I think that in the B2B, as the digital transformation, as I was saying, is all across all the industries, right? So because all the industries are in this journey, and the one that is not doing this, the companies that is not doing this, they will not survive, definitely. But to put you some examples I think that smart and sustainable cities, the way that the government is communicating with the citizens, the way that the government is communicating with the tourists, you know, to provide the information, the government has to be closer to the citizens, and the technology plays a major role here. So in terms of communicating with them, and in terms of providing such services that can mitigate some of the issues that they have today. For example, things like traffic, right? So traffic management. So how I can find a parking that is closer to the place that I go and easily. So having a smartphone application today, together with some sensors in some of the areas, it will give immediate visibility to you where to go. Some other areas that I see that are going to be in a huge transformation is well, in the industries, because, you know, so at the end with the industry 4.0, the automation in those industries is a must for them to be competitive in the world, to have visibility. So and for example, with the sensors, you can get the information in one single place in real time, and then this information can be processed also in real time with artificial intelligence algorithm to provide an insight. And let me put an example. Today we are deploying some use cases in some manufacturing plants where the information is coming to our IoT platforms, our cloud, and this information is processed, and through preventive maintenance algorithm, we are able to detect if something is going to fail. And this is a huge transformation for them, and also is a huge saving because we are preventing downtimes in this case. I was talking about digital health. Only, for example, with electronic medical records projects that we have, so that the different hospitals, the different clinics are able to exchange information on the patient, improving the patient experience, and sometimes saving lives, right? Because to have access to this information in real time is a matter of saving lives, because they can act immediately on the patient, on the problem. Another one is the automotive sector. I think that with the autonomous car, that 5G will play a big role here, because all the information coming from the infrastructure, from the roads, from the signals, and from the vehicles will be processed at the edge, like Daniel was saying, because we cannot have any delay here, and the latency has to be at the level of milliseconds, and then the car will be acting according to the information that is sensing, but also according to the information that is receiving from the infrastructure and from the other vehicles. To put you an example, today with the combination of 5G technologies plus edge computing, so if an incident is happening, the vehicle can react in 10 milliseconds, for example. The reaction time of a driver in front of an incident is more than 100 milliseconds. And this means, again, saving a lot of lives with the technology and with the innovation.
Interesting. No, thank you, Alberto. Look, I think you at the end of the day, you as a digital offering, you're offering the various industries' ability to integrate their systems, their environment, their data, and you're offering this as a service so that eventually they can make decisions to improve their efficiency and automate better and so on. Interesting. And this applies very well to multiple industries. So I have to ask a question to our and by the way, audience, please prepare your questions, and you can write them down in the Q&A, because very soon I'm going to look at questions coming from the audience to the various panelists. Meanwhile, if I have to ask the question about COVID, so we have to say, okay, we went through the pandemic. The question is more like, through the pandemic, certain things came out very clearly. But in your opinion, in a very short format, what are really the emerging opportunities that came out of the pandemic, and not taking a look back at the challenges, remote working, and so on and so forth, but the emerging opportunities? What came out clearly out of the pandemic as something that, as an industry, we have to focus on in terms of digital transformation? I'm going to ask the question. I'll start with Daniel, and anybody that would like to pick that up. Daniel?
Sure. Thanks, Ghazi. I will keep it short. I think the immediate answer you said is, from a consumer standpoint, there was the whole online productivity that became a necessity. That's the most obvious one. All organizations moving to the cloud. Obviously, we as Nokia saw that as a very leap forward in terms of how online communication needs to take forward. And public cloud is growing at 20-25% growth. I think what we saw was the opportunities emerging in healthcare, government, and citizen services. And we see that when we use the services in UAE. I'm living in Abu Dhabi, and the difficulty to get to Abu Dhabi and Dubai, and the technology involved in doing that and getting the tests were itself an opportunity for many to leap up on. And I think for me, if you see globally from Nokia, we're seeing opportunities in the private sector a lot. We're seeing a lot of connectivity from rural areas. How do we connect? And really, the purpose of reducing the digital divide, we're seeing education opportunities come in, where private wireless is becoming more and more required in the industry, may it be manufacturing, may it be automation. We were talking about a little bit about healthcare. All of these opportunities have just accelerated in terms of industry. And I think this is because, like I said earlier, the physical industry opportunity is now more evident than earlier what it was, where everything was around retail and banking and so on. That's what we see as connectivity as Nokia, and to my colleagues then. Yeah.
Interesting. Gunther?
Yes, to add what Daniel said, I think a great opportunity that really helped people in this difficult situation was around digital money, mobile money. You know, it was difficult to transfer money out when you were used to the physical process of going to an office and from there transferring. We offered an easy opportunity that was very, very well accepted, doing this digitally. And I think that changed for many people their perception of those services. They got first time into contact with those services, and now they integrate them in their daily life. So that is definitely an opportunity that is here now, and COVID created that opportunity. The other opportunity, I believe, also is in digital government. All across the region, we have these digital apps for the COVID status and the vaccination status. And I think that is something that is also a big mindset and cultural change that happened, driven by COVID. The third change I would mention is online learning. So we saw in the first 3 months, the rate of online learning, the traffic for online learning increased by a factor 100. And so something that has been used for niche and was exotic before suddenly became mainstream of society. And I think that is a great opportunity. There have been several other things like gaming that also profited, but I think these are the 3 big ones that really changed societies and are big opportunities going forward.
Interesting. Thank you, Gunther. Karim?
Yeah, I think the COVID time was a massive opportunity for telcos again to demonstrate their network capabilities to support. I think during the lockdown, we demonstrate that our network is capable to absorb all the pressure, and then making sure that people can do homeschooling and then working from home, and also watching and consuming massive data by all the other use cases, where it can be video streaming or gaming. So I think we gain on trust. Here as a telcos, we demonstrate that we are capable in a crisis time to deliver a 5-star experience. I think the customers, they were very demanding on high speed. We saw many upgrades, and we were capable to upgrade from 10 to now we are talking about the 500 Mbps and 1 terabyte. So it was a great opportunity for us, and also to stress test our ecosystem. On the consumer side, I think the COVID came, the tech savvy segment, they were already digital. So, and I think we have not seen any changes. They were digital even pre-COVID. But there is a segment who was more physical. So I think it was more a combination between physical and digital. This segment, we saw that it moved completely to digital during the COVID. And I think now we have a massive, or the most growing segment is the one where is very demanding on digital only, and the physical is becoming less and less demanding.
Thank you, Karim. Finally, Alberto, what do you think?
I don't have too much to add to what my colleagues. I agree with them. You know, I think that we have, from the telco perspective, we have demonstrated the resilience of our networks, the capabilities that we have. So I would mention what Daniel was saying, that the cloud trend to put everything in the cloud has been something very, very clear from this pandemic, because the way that the companies were operating before in a traditional IT way to have the servers on premise and so on is no longer valid. So the cloud trend is clear. But I would like also to mention something that, well, it has been a shock in some of the organizations because they were not ready, and even more, there were some challenges in the way that they were facing these issues, you know, because they were not ready for this, and they were not having the right skills or the right people on how to do things, how to move efficiently the servers and the applications to the cloud. So this is something that I see as an opportunity, because those companies and those governments has realized that they have not only to have the resources or the capabilities in with their partners, but also they have to have the right skills within those organizations to drive this transformation.
Interesting. So yeah, I mean, you summarized it quite well. The opportunity is quite unique in terms of what COVID brought on. We figured out and enabled it fairly quickly. Actually, we figured out that we're happy to work online. We're happy to learn online. We're happy to consume online. We're happy to play online. We're going to be in the metaverse, which is quite interesting to be actually fully embedded online. Where do we maybe putting you a little bit on the spot, just to ask you some questions about potential winners and losers in the era of digital transformation. You know, I give the example last time about Uber and Karim. They did not invent a new industry. They actually applied digital to a very traditional industry, and they made it a little more convenient to consume, you know, taxis and transportation. So it's a very traditional industry, but a new business model came about because of the application of digital transformation between brackets. Now, in your opinion, who would be winners and losers in the era of digital transformation in the next 5 to 10 years? If we can think just broadly and tell me which industries or which type of players do you think are going to be winners and losers over the next 5 to 10 years? Who would like to start? Alberto? You want to start?
I can. Okay. Well, I think that it's not a matter of sectors or industries. It's more a matter of how these companies are going to face these changes, right? To put you an example, the way that even you are approaching your customers is changing, right? Because you were mentioning Uber or Karim, but it's not a matter of putting on top of a traditional sector or traditional service what they are doing. It's a customer experience, right? It's a matter of customer experience. So in this way, to put you an example, at the TISA Lab, we have created co-creation labs, right? So to co-create with our customers the solutions, because you cannot this model of creating your solutions and your services inside of the company and then to put them in the market is no longer valid. What is valid is that you have to co-create those solutions with different methodologies together with your customers to go for an MVP product very quickly and very agile. And from there, you can evolve it and take it forward. So for me, the winners are going to be the companies that understand this digital transformation, and they have already started. Because if they haven't started this transformation journey, so they are late and they will not survive. And the losers are definitely the ones that they don't believe that by using digital services, technology is not gonna improve their competitiveness in the market. This is definitely they will die. They will die.
So you're talking about you know, type of companies that will be embracing a culture of innovation and putting the right tools in place and so on. Absolutely. That will be winners in the new era. What about you know, Danielle? How about specific industries, segments, manufacturing, etc.? Come on, let's put something out there in terms of actual segments.
Look, I would probably not call out any industries either to begin with. I think the transformation is really a journey. I think there are some good strategies out there. I would be careful in calling out winners and losers. The fundamentals is what we need to keep in check. One thing for me where it's going to be important is obviously not letting the eye off the customer, because that's where transformation will. Second, I fundamentally believe that technology investment is priority. So technology is an enabler, and companies that are really investing in the R&D will surely see a good return on the transformation, because everything needs to be looked at. If you look at legacy networks being removed and brought online, that's very important. And then we talked about cultural transformation, which is key. And then, of course, transformation not being about process and outcomes. If you ask me about an industry, having been in some of seeing what's happening in the startup area and where the innovation is coming and the way people are responding to it, I think there is an opportunity in healthcare, which we've been trying to scratch for the last 10 or 15 years. But I think now with the awareness we have, I think healthcare is going to see a massive transformation. Given all the regulatory concerns that we will have in different respective countries, we will see a massive amount of investment in healthcare. We're already seeing it, and we will see transformation taking a truly accelerated approach in healthcare. And I hope we will be part of that in some way as well.
Thank you, Daniel. Gunther, anything from your point of view on this?
Yeah, probably to add, I would also say healthcare is quite important. In addition, I would say education. Very clearly with this push to online education, easier accessibility for education for broader ranges of population. I think I see a lot of opportunity and a lot of winning there. And I would say transport and logistics, because of the reduced personal interaction, very clearly they are a winner of this development. And when they combine it with good technical capabilities, for sure, they have the possibility to fundamentally improve the services to their customers. And that makes them, in my eyes, a good candidate for a winner.
Great, thank you. Karim?
In my view, I don't think they will be a loser or a winner. I think we, across all the verticals, across all the industries, we will all win. Now, it's just how much you will take from this, I would say, transformation journey. In the telco space, I think we see that there is definitely a fintech industry is the one who's going to maybe grow and then take the wave of this digital transformation. And then here, I think telcos has a really good opportunity to be more open into a partnership with this vertical. I see the fintech as maybe the one who's going to take more on the winning path.
Yeah, definitely. Interesting. Fintech, healthcare, education, transport, logistics, or let's say not winners or losers, but segments that are clearly affected by digital transformation, and the companies that are able to keep up and build that culture of innovation and so on will be the winners, and the companies that don't will of course be the losers. We have some questions around security. There's always the questions about security, which was of course an important topic, but I say that because it requires a whole segment on its own and a whole discussion on its own. But we keep getting the question about what are the implications of security in digital transformation. Some of the questions on the chat, some of the Q&A. Maybe Gunther, you want to take it if you can, a short, because this is not a security panel, but a quick short view of that.
So my quick view is the following. If you compare the two alternatives, having traditional solutions that are tailor-made, handmade, and for case by case, and compare that with an more central digital solution, probably built around an API gateway strategy, it is evident that it's much more easier to secure that solution than all these individual case-by-case legacy solutions. So I would say, of course, you have a lot of homework to do to make your solution secure, but you do it one time, and everything you do in a digital building block strategy will benefit also all later solutions. So I think challenges are there, but they can be easily mastered in a digital strategy than in a conventional one. And to add to that, probably also in the cloud world, by the way, because if you use cloud services, you secure them once, and then all the services that run on them are secured. So I think, yes, the topic is there, but it's probably easier to handle it in this digital world than it was before.
Oh, thank you, Günther. Anything to add from the other panelists on this topic? Otherwise, we're going to get ready to sign off. It's almost 5 o'clock here in Dubai. I'd like to thank you, really, all of the panelists. And there's some questions there that were in the QA, but we've really pretty much answered them in the sense of some around key objectives, some around culture, some around telco regulators, where we haven't really picked up on. But again, this is probably not the panel for it. Some around what's there, what's new beyond what's accelerated in the out of COVID. I think lots of interesting new applications that came out of digital transformation out of COVID, and that's really the acceptance of online and acceptance of anything online. Yeah, again, regulation, not really the topic. We've pretty much addressed lots of the questions that were out there on the QA. Tony, any final words from you before we sign off?
In fact, thank you, everyone. Just we launched the poll, so we'll give some for the audience to kind of voting. We already have 46% is growing who's voting on this. So we can read this. I don't know if you read this, but let it give them some more time. So more people we can vote on this, answering the digital transformation, driving the next phase of innovation. So just let's wait 2 minutes if you don't mind.
Great. While people answer, and
now we had over 54% answering, so which is good. So we can end poll in 1 minute if you want, or 2.
Sure.
And then Ghazi will read the result, the percentage of each question, the answers. Okay, let's then end the poll now. So we'll be on time in that case. Okay, and Ghazi, it's yours then to read all the results.
Great. I hope there we go. So let's say first question in the poll is, has your company embarked on digital transformation journey? And overwhelming is 89% yes. And just a few no, 4%, and 7% partial. So, I mean, that's not very surprising. Is your company working on developing its employees' digital skills? 82% yes, that's surprising. 0% no, and partial 18%. So that's quite effective. I'll be interested to look at exactly what are those things that our companies doing to develop employees' digital skills. We had some good examples from Kareem. Maybe some of those companies will pick those up in terms of ideas. Do you consider, the third question is, do you consider cloud to be a pillar for digital transformation? And the overwhelming majority, 96%, said yes. Some still say no. I think cloud and cloud technology and the open, not just open, but cloud native, and not just cloud services, but cloud native type capabilities are essential for digital transformation. So any comments from the panelists on this poll? I think not very surprising, is it? It's quite straightforward in terms of the answers. Anything surprising? I'm a little bit surprised on the skills side, but anything from the panelists on this?
I think for me is as we said, there is no loser, there is no winner. The statistics are showing that everyone is taking the wave. So across all the industries, and then there is no today CIO, CTO, CCO who is not speaking the digital language. So it's one of the top 5, I would say, agenda of most of the CEOs. I think no surprise for me, it's the right track. COVID did the reset. Even the industries who were behind, I think with the COVID, they just said, let's move on. And then great to hear that the audience is in line with our perception.
Great.
I will just make one comment because like 10 days ago I was in Canada, so and there's launch of 350 hub in Ottawa, and the CTO of TELUS did the good command, so you'll not be surprised why this answers, Ghazi. He said everybody is doing digital. Do you think someone will do with analog transformation? So it's a fact now. We are living digital. So the answer is obvious. Yeah, Karim, I know you agree. You know, so no one will go back, you know, for analog the transformation. So we're going one way toward digital. So maybe everyone agree also.
Indeed. I think it's such a buzzword now that, you know, anybody just includes digital transformation in the content of what they're doing. But you know, I think the panelists here, thank you very much, by the way. It's a very interesting panel. I hope the audience enjoyed it. I certainly enjoyed it. And I thought there was lots of very interesting comments, topics, views on digital transformation overall. We talked about the importance aspect of you know, digital, and talked about what are really the important elements of a transformation journey, infrastructure, technology, skills, experience, etc. So thank you very much, dear panelists. It was quite enjoyable. Thank you to the audience. Thank you, Tony and Telecom Review, for making this happen.
Thank you, all of you.
Thank you, Ghazi.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Take care now.